high-end elite athletes do not rely on motivation to get them out the door at 5 a.m. to go run. Today, my goal is to convince you that you can be elite in your own way. Well, it's super warm for 9 a.m. late September, but change is coming next week. My legs are dead, but that was the plan. Had a hard threshold workout yesterday, and today is a nice treat in the mountains. A lot of alpine travel today. All right, I'm gonna get in the thick of it. A lot of overgrowth, a lot of potential bear, but first, what's on my feet? Today, I picked this year's favorite all-rounder, the Norda 002. This is great at just about everything. It lacks just a little bit of rock protection when running fast, but I primarily use it for long days and easy runs where I can either dodge around sharper rock and technical terrain, or the effort just doesn't give me that zinger feel with the outsole bottoming out just a little bit. But it's a wonderful shoe. I've talked about it before. Great ground feel, great V-rim outsole. It's just wonderful for in the mountains. I'm often asked if I like using music while I run, and today's a perfect example of no. My ears are my eyes today. The berries are out. The bears are out. This is what they call the climber's trail. It's not an official trail, but a trail climbers have developed to take to one of the very few sport climbing crags in Jackson and Teton. So it's going to get us into some spectacular alpine environments. So here we go. And quite often, great place to see moose. Got a moose track here, but I suspect it's going to be a little warm today to catch them out. They might be hunkered down. It's pretty warm. This channel and this video is all about providing coaching content to help you realize that you can be elite in your own way. And if you don't like the rhetoric, simply put, this video today is going to provide a lot of stories and tips on everything we all can do that the elites are doing that actually make them elite. All elites have the talent, but it's all the things that they do that supplement their ability that really truly helps them rise above. And that's something we all can do. My legs are tired. So one example I want to start with is tennis player Agassi. He, in his mind, did not become elite until he had the epiphany that he had to find a bigger purpose and mission to him playing tennis. All through his early years as a kid, growing up and developing into one of the best tennis players in the world, he hated tennis. But that epiphany was that I can either shut it down and quit, or I can use this platform and decide to find a bigger purpose. And that's when he had that amazing 1999 French Open comeback that really catapulted him to maybe the results that he was always developed to have. But it was all based around building schools that are in areas of underserved and providing them a vehicle to graduate and to go on to school. In 1 year, his school actually had 100% graduation and entry into college performance. So point being, I think this video starts here, is that to be elite, make a decision that you can be elite in your own mind, and then find that higher purpose that drives you, because ultimately high-end elite athletes do not rely on motivation to get them out the door at 5 a.m. to go run. Most amateur runners rely on motivation, and that ends pretty quickly. You've got to have a higher purpose that supersedes or goes above the need for motivation. Okay, not quite sure. It's not super apparent, but I think we have some bear tracks. Let's take a look. Hind claws. It's pretty big. And it just goes away. So my guess is that was a small black bear. And then a little bit of scat. That was a little bit old. The tracks looked fresher than the scat. Nothing like 30% straight up for tired legs. Woo. Well, we've got one climber up on the wall. All right, all fueled up and ready for the next ascent. In a couple weeks, I'm going to be headed back home to Western New York and going to visit some family, do some filming for you guys, show you my hometown. And with what comes with being a Western New Yorker also means you have to be a Buffalo Bills fan. And I'm a big Bills fan, always have been. And the quarterback for the Buffalo Bills is Josh Allen. And Josh grew up in California. He's now 6'5", 240 pounds. So you can pretty much assume growing up he was on the taller side, and he didn't have one single college scholarship offer coming out of high school. So he went to junior college, played quarterback at junior college for 2 years, and then was looking to transfer to a major college program. And he only received one college scholarship offer, and that was to the University of Wyoming. So kind of an ironic twist. And so he accepted that and played 2 years in Wyoming, and then was drafted 9th overall by the Buffalo Bills. And I think there was at least 2 quarterbacks taken before him. He was seen as a raw talent, and many questioned that 9th pick overall to the Buffalo Bills. And it was really criticized. And because coming out of college, his percentage rate was in the 50%. And that's not very good for a quarterback. And so he got drafted, and what did he do? Did he rely on his natural gift and natural talent, natural rocket for an arm and big stature? Nope. He went to work on his throwing motion. He completely revamped everything he knew about throwing a football. He got a coach and really dove into changing his biomechanics. And 7 years later, he last year was voted MVP of the league, and his percentage rating is consistently in the high 60% to the low 70s, which is very, very good. Hence the MVP. And I think this year the Bills are one of a few teams that do not have one single turnover yet to the season. And he just does not throw interceptions anymore. And so, yes, he had the talent, but he became elite through his hard work and his dedication to perfecting his craft. Not unlike changing our run form and seeing our run form as the best form of strength training we can do as runners. So be like Josh. Take on the idea that revamping your run form and perfecting your run form is a lifelong pursuit, because that Josh is always working on his throwing motion before, in the warm-ups, before games. And that's what we can do with our run form. Don't fall into the trap of, hey, I run how I run. Okay? We all can get better at run form, and it's not about creating more efficiency or creating more speed. It's about training your body to utilize muscles in an appropriate way that helps you become eventually a stronger runner and a more healthy runner. So I guess I'm saying is being elite is understanding all the little things that we can do that will help us improve, regardless of our ability. Okay, last story about a guy and a professional athlete. A few years back, I coached a NHL goaltender, and he flew me down to Tampa to do our initial consult and do some training. And we were at dinner eating lots of sushi, and I said, John, why are you hiring me as a coach? He says, Eric, I was the backup goaltender last year, and the starting goaltender just signed a contract with a different team, so I'm coming into training camp potentially as the #1 goaltender. And I need to be in the best shape possible because I need to gain the trust of our coach. Our coach is notoriously one of the hardest coaches in the NHL, and I need to gain his trust. And I said, I got it. And reflecting back, and as I got to know John, I really think this was more about him gaining trust in himself. And so he went into camp, best shape of his life. The coach even gave him a shout out in one of the press conferences, and he went on to become the starting goaltender. This was his contract year. He signed a multi-year, multi-million-dollar contract and had, I believe it was a 9-period shutout streak that was team record. And he went on to play in the Olympics for Team Canada, all in that first year of his contract. So my point being is that, again, I'm using these professional athletes so it sticks in your mind that we automatically go to these professional athletes that are just gifted, and they don't have to do anything with their gift to be elite. But what made John elite was his decision that he was worthy enough to have the best fitness he could possibly have, and he was worthy enough to be that starting goaltender on a contract year. And so my point is that that's being elite. That's making the decision that we all are worthy of getting our best self. And often I see the amateur athlete not feeling like they're worthy enough, or that it's selfish for them to place so much emphasis on their running. And I don't think that's the case. I think if we give that to ourselves, we can give much more to others. And I think that's being elite. Okay, like I said, let's get on to the good stories, the female stories. I just had a recent athlete this is the first year we've worked together, and she was doing a 100-mile race that she had done last year, that she DNF'd last year. And we've got kind of a 2-year plan in place, this year being the first year. And her race was last week. And she got a lot further than she did last year, but she still didn't make the cutoff. She had to DNF. They pulled her from the race. So it wasn't her choice, but the race's choice. And she's already stoked for next year. And where I'm going with this is that oftentimes We're, like I talked about earlier, being motivated. We're motivated by results rather than self-mastery. And it also takes patience, is that she's just not fast enough yet. And she and I have talked about this, and we've got to get her faster, even though she's doing 100 and 200 mile races, is that we have to improve her overall ability. And that takes time and it takes patience, and that's okay. It took Michael Jordan 7 years before he won a championship. It took Andre Agassi over a decade to have that pinnacle win. It took Josh Allen 7 years before he won MVP. So it takes time. And if we steer our emphasis away on results and to that process of being elite, it affords us the patience to get there. And being patient is being elite. Okay, final story. It's on Margot. I've talked about Margot before. She's in both of my books, The Cool Impossible and Born to Run 2. She is one of the athletes that I've coached the longest. She had lots of injuries coming into our coaching together, and she overcame those and became a prolific triathlete and eventually ultra runner. Margot has 5 kids. I don't know how she did it. I really don't. She still is an inspiration to me of doing everything she did with 5 kids on a farm.
Oh, that was the race. That was the race right after that was the first Worlds. And then these are all these are my favorite medals that I saved.
Yeah, go through a couple of them.
El Cruz, this was in Patagonia. God, I forgot about that race.
Yeah, it's like a wind chime.
Yeah, this is Madagascar. These are all my awards that I just keep in here. One of my favorite, this is Monument Valley.
Oh yeah.
So the Native American, who are which I don't know what tribe.
Probably Navajo.
Navajo. So you're on their land.
Yep, yep.
And then they make the awards.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. 3rd place female. Those were some of my triathlons. It's kind of all falling apart now. As you can see, I don't really care. but I kept them.
We care, but we don't.
Them.
We care, but
we don't. This is Bella. Right now, so they're not laying many eggs. We have 1 blue egg.
So, Tour Giants, let's get the fun stuff over with. How old were you?
50. I don't know.
51?
I think 51.
Okay. And how did you do? Stats wise?
14th woman, 2nd American woman. So, you know, like when you say 5 minutes, every 5 minutes, 30-second pickups or whatever.
Yep.
God, I hate those. You know, because you don't want to do that.
How do they help you though?
Because they help at the end of the race when you want to like stop like that. I don't know what it does, but that's when it helps me.
Right.
What is it? I mean, is that right? I don't know what it
Okay, so what helped you when Tour Giants got hard and you had to actually turn around and walk backwards because of your hamstring? How did training help you for that?
Oh my God, because you just don't give up. I mean, I was not going to give up.
But ultimately, this wasn't for her. This was to show her kids the lifestyle that she wanted to live, and for them to see that and to be inspired by that. So Margot's gift was realizing that results and motivation are the thief of happiness. And her true ability was able to see very early on that results were a byproduct of making the decisions to be your best, that self-discovery that goes with it, and the gift that it gives to you, but more importantly, the gift it gives to others. Over and out from Rock Springs Trail. Jackson Hole, Born to Run World. See you guys. We got a little friend up here, a little red fox.